In order to create tickets and sponsorships for your next event, you'll first navigate to your Tickets tab. Now, walking through this tab, you'll see that you have a few options right at the top here, such as adding a ticket, purchasing tickets, or adding in sponsorships. So to start, let's walk through what it looks like to add in a ticket. Scrolling down here, I've already added a few tickets, and you may note that some are different colors than others, such as this purple one versus our orange. This is just a key way to be able to quickly look and see if it's a single ticket or a group of tickets. So the orange indicates a group of tickets, maybe it's a table, or it could also be considered a sponsorship. And then your purple one over here is just strictly individual tickets. Now, in creating an individual ticket, you would first click on Add Ticket and then select your ticket type. So again, for your event, a ticket would be a single one, a table or group would generate that orange one, and then we also have this live access ticket for your virtual events. So in this case, I've created an individual ticket here, and it will walk you through the steps in order to create that ticket on your event site. So again, following that plug and play approach, we have our ticket name, our description of that ticket, and this is what lives on the actual event site itself. So when somebody looks at that individual ticket, they'll see a brief description just below that in order to determine if that's one they'd like to purchase. That is also summarized here with that little eye icon. It's a little information bubble. Our email description is what is found in the top section of the email that they'll receive once they purchase a ticket. So this, for our best practice here, is to include maybe specific parking instructions or specific attire, anything more detailed information that you'd like to convey to your ticket holders. Next, we'll continue on down here. You'll set your price for that ticket, and then you'll set your quantity for that ticket. You'll also be able to set a max per purchaser. So if there is, only 2 per person that they can purchase, you can certainly set that here, or leave it blank and it will never cap out for anybody. Your published and unpublished dates can be set. So therefore, a published date would be whenever they go on sale, and they are available for your attendees to purchase them. That you can set here or leave it blank and it will go live automatically. And your unpublished date, this is great to use if you do have a cutoff date or you'd like to provide numbers to your caterer ahead of time. So maybe a week out, you can stop those sales. It doesn't mean that you can't always come back here on the manager portal and purchase a ticket on behalf of somebody. You'll just have a bit more control over that inventory. You can also set a specific time in which they go, in which they'll be unpublished as well as published. Another great use of this is if you do have any early bird tickets, you can create an early bird ticket, set your published date and your unpublished date, and then that way you can kind of set it and forget it. Your ticket value here, this is what some would have on their receipts that they could then claim on their taxes. So for instance, if a ticket is $100 and $50 of that goes to the food and beverage, then they could declare the additional $50 as a charitable donation. So that is optional if you'd like to be able to include that there. Then we come down to our promo codes, our access codes, and our additional options. So walking through our promo codes, this is something that you can utilize for discounts, whether it be a monetary or a percentage discount on each individual ticket. And as you can see here, you can set multiple codes for one ticket. So for instance, I have a complimentary code. You can see here that I have it set to an indefinite amount of people that can utilize that code versus my staff 50 is 50% off, and I have capped that at 12 people that can utilize that code. So in order to add a promo, you click on that blue add promo. You can create your promo code here, input your discount, and then select whether it's, again, monetary or percentage, and then your use count. Similar to the max per purchaser, you can leave that blank, and then it will have unlimited amount of promo codes available. Your access code is something that creates a hidden ticket, if you will. So if we create an access code and we provide that to maybe just our board members to utilize, when they go to purchase their ticket and they type in board, it will then generate another additional ticket that they can then purchase. So like a secret hidden ticket. And then lastly, our options. This is great if you'd like to collect additional data from your attendees when they do purchase their ticket. So if you were to add in an option here, we can select from one of 4 different formats to be able to capture that data. So we have our text input. So if it's collecting maybe a specific name or an occupation, you may want to utilize this option as it's a free form where they can just type in whatever text they'd like. The select input, this would be if you have multiple options and they can only select one. So maybe you have 3 different meal options, for example, and we'll actually just type that in here. So meal option, and then we can say steak, maybe fish, and vegan. So by typing those in and then clicking on that plus sign, you can add as many as you'd like here. You'll also note that as you do generate this, it will come up with an example of how that looks. And then you can also decide if you'd like to make that a requirement, meaning they'd have to answer that question before they can complete their purchase. So I'll click save here. And as you can see, similar to our promo codes, you can set as many different options as you'd like. Heading back to those formats though, if it's a multiple response, so they can select from multiple options, that would be a great place to do so here. If it's maybe just a single response, so they can only select one or the other for maybe yes or no questions, that would be the best use case for that single response. And then we'll click save and close, and that is our ticket. Now, again, I like to see that in update in real time. So let's go to view our event site and click on our tickets and sponsorships. And again, here is that individual ticket. Here is the ticket description that we included. If I were to add that to my cart here, I'll say next. And then I'm presented with the options. So again, I already had a few options on there, such as my dietary restrictions and my meal option, and those were required questions. You can see by the red asterisks here. And here's that additional meal option that we just created as well. So I can select that and then next. And then this is the point that it will prompt you to either log in or create an account here. So I will go ahead and log in. And then over here on the right-hand side, this is our promo code field. So this is where we would apply that code, and it's now a $0 ticket, and we'll go ahead and complete our purchase. Heading back over to our tickets page, the other option here is to set up a group or table. So that looks only a slightly different in that we do have the ticket name, description, and email description. We also have the price and the quantity. The main difference here is that we have an additional field to complete, which is your number of seats included. So again, your quantity is the number of those particular tables or sponsorships available, and the seats are the number of people that are included in a single sponsorship or table. Again, we have our published and unpublished date and ticket value. And you can also add those same promo codes or different promo codes for this particular ticket type. And you can also add additional options or the same options. So each ticket is created and customized as its single entity. And then we would click Save and Close once we've updated all of that information. Now that I've added in my tickets, if I do want to reorder the tickets on the front-facing event site, I can always do so by clicking my reorder in the top right-hand corner, and I can simply drag and drop them into the correct order that I would like. So maybe I want it to be something like this. There we go. So we have them in descending order. I'll click Save, and then it will update that both on the manager portal as well as on the event site. You can also purchase tickets on someone else's behalf from your Tickets tab by clicking on either Purchase Tickets up here, or you can purchase the ticket from the actual ticket tile itself. So let's say we'll go ahead and purchase tickets, and we are going to purchase another individual ticket, and I'll say next. And again, because we're doing this on someone else's behalf, I won't go ahead. I don't need to select those options. I'll click next and allow them to do that on their end. From here, we can input the cell phone number or email address of the individual. And it looks like Andrea already has an account, and she actually wrote me a check. So instead of charging her card, which I could do so by clicking Add Card and typing in the information here, I will toggle this to offline and go ahead and include that check number, and I'll click Purchase. And Andrea now has a ticket to the event. If you have some sponsorships that come in offline, you can also add them here as well. So you'll note on the right-hand side here, we have a column for sponsor table invites. And as we begin to add in those sponsors, they will live on this right-hand side. So we'll go ahead and add our first sponsorship, and we can select whichever sponsorship that is. So let's say it is the presenting sponsor. I'll go ahead and add that. And just note that it will show the amount here of that sponsorship. However, it's not actually charging that particular purchaser through the event site, as it's just noting it on the payout report as an offline transaction. That way you have all of your numbers and financials located in one place at the conclusion of your event. So we will go ahead and click next and next again. And this is actually going to be event.gives as our presenting sponsor, and I'll click purchase. From here, again, we can scroll down and view our sponsor table invites. So we can always at any time click on this blue event.gives. We can simply add in the attendees back here on the back end by including their phone number or email. Or if you don't have either of those, you can select that as an option as well. In this case, we do know the phone number of the individual that will be taking this first ticket. So we'll click search, and sure enough, it is Emily Parker. And it looks like she's already attended another event. Because her profile was recognized via her phone number, we'll just go ahead and say yes. And now she's been assigned her ticket. If we have a new person being added to the system, again, we can type in their phone number here. And we'll click search. And then we can create that user account. So we can do so by including their name here and maybe their email address. And we can even add in a credit card if you'd like. So I will click save. And now David also has his ticket. Now let's say, for example, we don't have either an email nor a phone number. We can utilize that. I don't have either of these options by clicking on that blue text here and then just including the name. So maybe it is Jamie Smith. and we'll click Save. Now, if at any time you would like to delete or add in seats to this particular sponsorship, you can do so by clicking on your trash can to delete that seat. And you'll note on the right-hand side, I now have 9 seats, and then I can simply add a ticket back in to have my 10 seats included. I could also move this to another sponsorship. If I had additional ones here, I could simply click move to that sponsor and it would simply move them to that other table. If at any time you need to update the name, so maybe we had it under the purchaser name and now we're ready to put it under the company name, you can always do so by clicking on that blue text at the very top, entering in the name and clicking rename. Lastly, if you'd like to share your tickets link, you can always click on this link here in order to either link it to your own organization's page or maybe even create a QR code to make it really easy for people to go on and purchase their tickets. Another quick link to note is underneath your sponsorship tables here, you'll also have a link to that individual sponsor. So if we were to copy that link, our best practice is to draft an email and send it to the purchaser and include that link in order for them to assign their guests their tickets. So if we were to paste and look at that link that we would share with the purchaser, this is what it would look like when they open it. So they can always, they'll see on the left-hand side all of the when and where for your event. They can also share out the event on their own socials or contact you as the event organizer. They can also click this drop down to read more about the how to assign their attendees or maybe even link their attendees. And let's go ahead and you'll see here that because we've already assigned them here, you'll note that they're already listed. So if we need to assign others, we can always click Assign. And again, this is from the sponsorship purchaser's viewpoint. I can assign it to myself, and then I can assign it to another guest. So such as including their mobile phone number here. So we will go ahead and do so. And we'll click search. And sure enough, Jacob Williams is the correct owner. And we can continue to update that information. Now, most importantly, over here on your, again, still on our tickets tab, as we scroll down, you'll see that we now have 5 people with RSVPs. So you can see them listed here. And she just assigned Jennifer and Jacob to that event and to those specific tickets. Lastly, if you are interested in managing your seating layout, you can always do so by clicking on Manage Seating and adding that feature onto your event to create an entire layout and place people at their individual tables according to the room specs. And that is our best practices and our step-by-step guide for creating your tickets to your next event.